Okay guys, so welcome to the first Tech Talk video. Today we're going to be going through my cameras and what I have used, where I've started, to what I use now. We're going to talk about some prices and we're going to talk about my ratings from them, just on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, and all of that good stuff. So, I started with a Kodak camera. This is the Kodak, where does it say? Okay, Kodak Easyshare C195. This camera is around $200. I don't know what it cost back then. This camera is so old. This camera, I believe, was a gift that I got in, I think 2011 was when I got this. My aunt got it for me. And like I said, it runs in around the $200 price range, depending on where you buy it, if you buy it used or what have you. This is one of those standard point and shoots where it uses 2 AA batteries. You can buy regular AA batteries, or you can buy rechargeable AA batteries, and it has the SD slot right here in the bottom of it, standard with any, point and shoot camera. The tripod mount on the bottom of it, a big screen here. You got your little menu settings and your functions, your camera, your video settings, what have you. This is the first camera that I started with. Whoa, that was close. This is the first camera that I ever made my first video with. This is where I started. This was a Christmas present from my aunt. I still have the lanyard on it, never took the lanyard off. I used this with like this little tripod right here, and this bigger one, bulkier one that I bought at like a thrift store that I don't have with me today. But this was the camera. The quality of this camera is not too great. It says on here it's 14 megapixels. Now at the time this was a pretty dang good camera. Nowadays not so great, but it does work well if you want to get that aged video look, like a home video look from back in the day. It does kind of have that quality, a little bit blurry. The low light setting on it, or the low light feature abilities on it, are not that great, so at nighttime you really need lighting or something like that. But this is what I started with, and from this came bigger and better things. But honestly, this is how I worked. This is how I started. This is started from 0 subscribers and worked my way up to now I think 151 subscribers. This was the camera, and this is what I could afford, and this is what I had, so this is what I used. I give it like a 3.5 stars. At the time it was a really great camera and it was really good, and for a point and shoot, like I said, not that bad, but I give it 3.5 stars. The next camera was kind of like a side camera, like my backup camera. This is the Kodak Mini, or the Kodak HD Mini camera. This camera runs you, I think it was $80 when I bought it, or $60, and now on eBay or something you can get it for about $35, shipping included. And this was like a little waterproof camera. It was almost like a flip camera, and it had this piece in the back that I broke off, but it swung out like this, and it clipped in, and it was waterproof. So this was a waterproof camera. It did not have a tripod mount, which really bugged me. But it was waterproof, and it has this right here. This is the USB. This plugged right into the camera, or this plugged right into the computer, and that's how you got your information off the camera and onto your computer. It did not have an SD card slot. I used this for underwater footage. It was pretty good. Again, low light settings, terrible. It's terrible at low light settings. It has the on button, it has a record button, and it has a small menu button, and that's about it. Pretty decent little camera. I'm going to give it 3 stars. I wish it had a tripod mount. If it had a tripod mount, it would probably get 4 stars. But back in the day, this was a decent little camera. Like I said, you can find it for like $35 on eBay, new, with shipping. But pretty decent. If you want a waterproof camera, you want something you can just pick up and go with, this is great. Size comparison, I mean, it's a little bit shorter than this Kodak point and shoot, and it's a lot thinner. This thing is like pencil thin. It's super thin. It's super portable, lightweight. So if you want like a backup waterproof camera, I would definitely recommend you going with something like this. Okay, so the next camera that I had was a flip video, and it was like the flip ultra video camera black. It was a 4 GB camera. It said 2 hours. It was the second generation. My grandmother had bought one and was using it for her cruises, and then she gave it to me. I only had it for a couple months, and I only had a couple shots on it, and then my dog, who was a puppy at the time, chewed it up. But I'm gonna bring you guys in and show you guys what it looked like. This was the flip video camera, black. This is what it looked like. It was a little bit big, it was a little bit bulky. It was the same thing with the USB port plugged into the camera like that. And this camera, buying options. Nowadays will run you, let's see, used, new, $180. $180 new and $55 used in good condition on Amazon if that's where you choose to buy it. It did have pretty good clear clarity. I think it did have a tripod mount. It definitely did have a tripod mount. The flip video camera, that whole generation or whatever, that a couple of years ago, it was like a really big thing, and then people kind of moved on past it. It was a pretty decent little camera. It was kind of like the upgraded, bigger, bulkier version of this guy, except it wasn't waterproof. And cost more, obviously. It was a decent little camera, but nothing that I would recommend for you guys. I give it 3 stars out of 5, but really I wouldn't recommend that if you want something to make your videos on. I don't think that's something that you really want, and quality wise it's just not that great of a camera. The next camera that I got was this Sony Handycam. Now this was a good chunk of my time was spent on this camera. This camera runs you around like $200, and it's one of these like soccer mom style flip out video cameras, and it had the swivel screen so I could see what I was filming in front if I was filming like this, or if I had it on a tripod, but also I could flip it like that or flip it up if I wanted to get a higher angled shot or a lower angled shot. 70x zoom. This one is the Sony Handycam SX85. If you're searching for it, that's what it comes up as. It has this little USB thing on here, so this will plug right into the computer if you want to get everything off of there. Also, it has the little thing right here for a SD card, which I didn't realize that was in there, but now I know. And then you can buy batteries for this. The batteries aren't that expensive. I have 4 batteries for this. You can buy an extra charger. You can charge this by plugging it in right to the camera, or you can take it and use the external charger for this camera. It does have a tripod mount here. It does have a little light on here that worked decently well. It wasn't like this bright light, but if you were up close and in a darker setting, you could turn that light on and get a close shot. This camera was what I used for the most part for these videos, and it was a great little camera. It was really good. The quality was pretty decent at the time. 2000x digital zoom is what it says on here. It's a bunch of fun facts on the camera, as most of you guys know. It doesn't tell me like 1080p or anything like that. I don't know what exactly it is, but it's great. It had the power button, the playback button, the light button, the audio button. This camera, my dad actually used a lot to make like his hunting videos and stuff. That's what I would give him to take when he goes hunting. The zoom button's up top here. Photo, takes pretty decent photos. This is, like I said, what the typical like soccer mom or like kid's parent would like have like the games to video their kids, or like make home videos and those things. This was another present for me for Christmas. Again, this will run you $200 around there. Pretty great camera. I give it 4 stars, mostly because like what it did for me really just took me to the next level. From a point and shoot camera, you know, from this thing to this was like a big deal. And I carried this in like a big case, but I had it on the outside of my pack. I carried all 4 batteries, 2 SD cards with it, and this is just what I rocked for the longest time, for a couple years. It's a really great camera. Its quality is pretty decent. It's pretty good. But yeah, it's just it was a good camera to have. Like I said, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. If you're vlogging or anything, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're doing like things like this where you're sitting and talking to the camera or anything like that, it is a really good camera for home videos, for filming your kids or whatever. Sporting events, it's a good little camera. It's pretty compact. It actually does fit in the cargo pocket fairly well. So yeah, it's a good camera. Next camera that I'm going to talk to you guys about is my GoPro Hero 3 Silver. This was a Christmas present. Got this in 2013. I've had it for 4 years. This is a great camera. This camera is $270 new. You can get it refurbished for I think $200, but it's $270 now. This is, like I said, 2013's model. There are newer models out there. The nighttime setting, once it gets dark, for any GoPro really, the quality of video is really bad, and it's really pixely and it's bad. But during the daytime in well lit settings, this thing is great. It's phenomenal. Like I said, I've had this for 4 years. I've dropped this in the water while recording. I've had to take it apart, put it in rice, heat dry it with like a hair dryer, and it still works, okay? And that was about 1.5 years ago when I did that. So it's a great camera. I have like all of the mounts and all the accessories for this. There's so many options that you can use for this. It's so super small. Waterproof case for it. Also a skeleton case if you don't want the waterproof case. It has an external microphone adapter. I do know somebody who vlogs with one of these. I wouldn't, but I do know somebody who does and has the setup for that. I will put their name right here so you can go check out that channel. There's so many options with this. There's whatever you want to use this for, whether it's on your kayak, your canoe, your car, your boat, indoor settings, outdoor, whatever. There's a mount for everything that you can buy for this. And there's millions and millions and millions of ways that you can rig this. Everybody knows what a GoPro is. Everybody knows the company. Everybody knows the cameras. They are great cameras. I give it maybe 4.2 stars. The low lighting for me is what gets me every time. I wish that they had better, like a low light setting that would make this better for nighttime videoing. But honestly, such a good camera. Such a good camera. Worth it. So worth it for action shots and for things like that. I don't use it as my main camera. In Vermont I do, or at least I used to. This year in Vermont it's going to be a little bit different because we have 2 people on the boat, me and my dad. I'm going to have like 4 cameras running at all times. So it's going to be a lot better this year. But all of my Vermont videos were filmed on this, and a couple of them were filmed on this next camera. This is like my favorite camera. Aside from the one that I'm using right now. This is my second favorite camera in the world. This is the Canon Powershot SX40HS. This thing comes with full HD. Stabilizing capability is awesome. I think this is 1080p. Come on. Doesn't say. Why doesn't it say? Oh, 12.1 megapixels. This, I think, was 2013's model. Like I said, it's the SX40. I would recommend the SX60. It's actually a camera that I've been looking at, that I've been wanting to buy. This camera is $300. The SX60 is $450. Now, if you want to start off making videos, taking photos, making videos, vlogging, fishing videos, anything like that, if you want a camera, okay, that is bulletproof, I recommend either this, the SX40, or the SX60. And the reason that I recommend the SX60, really I would go with the SX60, is because the SX60 has an external microphone mount. So it has a mount on top of here that you can put an external microphone, kind of like this one, and your audio is going to be, you know, pretty much perfect. It is a little bit bigger with that on there, but it is so much better to have that, especially if you're filming outdoors and it's windy or anything like that, and you want your audio to be clear and usable, then the SX60 is what you want. But this is essentially the same thing. It's just 2 models down from the SX60. It has the swivel screen, okay? The swivel screen is what you want in your life. Put it on a tripod and you know what you're filming. You can vlog with this camera. It's not too heavy of a camera to deal with. It's not a DSLR, so the lens is built on, opposed to a DSLR where you have external lenses that you would have to buy. This thing is, honestly, it's bulletproof. I've had this since 2013. It has a certain battery that you have to buy for it, but you can buy 2 of these for around $18 on Amazon. You can buy extra chargers for it. It's so worth it. And then it has the regular SD card right there. This is the camera that I would recommend, a Canon Powershot. The zoom on this is absolutely phenomenal. It is just, it's such a good camera. It's everything that you could want. This one, like I said, it doesn't have the external microphone mount, so really you should go with the SX60. But I haven't used that one. I've only used this one, but the SX60 is what you want if you're worried about audio. But if not, the quality on this is amazing. I've dropped this thing many times. I'm very hard on my equipment. This camera is great. Like I said, this camera, $300. The SX60 is $450. But this thing, for me, gets 5 stars. Well, it gets 4 stars. It gets 4.5 stars. The only reason it gets 4.5 stars is because it doesn't have the external microphone mount here. So 4.5 stars for this camera, only because it doesn't have the external microphone mount. The quality on this is so clear. The capabilities of this camera is great, again, for photo and for video. For family videos, if you're a parent and you take this, you want to video your kids' games or recitals or whatever, it's a great camera. You can bring this with you to concerts and things like that because it's not a DSLR. It's not it doesn't have the external lenses that you have to attach and detach. You can get this thing into concerts and things like that because it's within the regulations and the rules. So again, this is my second favorite camera of all time. This is what I would recommend to you guys if you want to buy a camera. If you want to start out, save $300 up for this, save another $20 for 2 extra batteries, save another $20 for an SD card, and boom, and a tripod, and you're good to go. The last and final camera that I have for you guys is my DSLR camera. I don't use this camera as often as I wish I did, but I have used it enough times to kind of give you guys an overview. This camera was $700, okay? It's a DSLR camera, which means it has this lens here that comes out and is interchangeable with other lenses and things like that. So if you wanted to video things close up, you would have to get a macro lens, put it on here, and use that for your really close tight up shots. If you wanted a wide angle lens, you'd have to buy a wide angle lens, put it on here to get the wide angle shot. If you wanted something with super zoom to video things like birds and animals from far away, you'd have to buy a very long range lens for that. This is the 18-55 lens that it came with. This is how this camera came, okay? This is what this camera looks like. This is the D5200. It has the flip out screen. If I buy a camera, it has to have a flip out screen of some kind. The Handycam has it, the Canon Powershot has it, and the G7X has it. Have to have this because if I'm doing this, I want to see what I'm filming. If I have it on a tripod, I want to see what I'm filming. And if I want to get high shots, I can get high shots, low shots, all of that. It has to have a swivel screen. This is a very introductory camera to anyone who just wants to get into DSLRs. Now, my aunt has the Canon Rebel T3i, I believe is what it is. That's about the same thing as this one, just it's Canon's version. This is Nikon. If you hear that dinging noise, it's Bella. But this is just the Nikon version of Canon. Both of those are good cameras. I believe that one's also $700. This camera is pretty amazing. It has the autofocus manual, auto feature, manual feature, all the other fun facts. Sport mode, you know, all of those things. The dial up on here is great. You turn it on this way, turn it on this way, turns on. You guys can see it's on now. If I do this, it changes so I can see what I'm filming. So that's what you guys look like. Great thing. Great features. Your settings on here, all that good stuff. Turn it off. The record button's up top here. It has the external microphone mount. So I can take this microphone, put it up here, mount it on, plug it into the side, and now I have this big kind of professional setup. You can use this to vlog if you really want to. Some people do. If you really want to get up there, I mean, this is a good camera for it. Again, this is kind of an introductory level to the DSLR, but this is the one that I have. It's pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie. You open the bottom up here, and this is where the battery is. This is not a Nikon brand battery, but this is the battery you have to buy for it. Again, you can buy 2 of them for about $25 online. That's what I do. And then on the side here, this pops up, and this is where you would keep your SD card. Take that out because that shouldn't be in there. So yeah, it's a great camera. The flash and everything work on it. It's a good camera. If you want an if you want to just get started with a DSLR, maybe you want to move up to something like this, I recommend this camera. Again, $700 might seem like a lot, but honestly, for cameras, it's really not. It's actually a really good price for something that you want to get into and something that you want to learn about. Great for photos, great for filming. Like I said, I just kind of, I haven't used it as much as I would like to, but it's a great camera. I'm going to be using it a lot more. I have a wedding next year that I'm going to be filming. That's mostly going to be filmed on this and the camera, the Canon G7X. This camera, for me, in conjunction with the G7X, like, they're both about the same price. The G7X's original price is $700. I got mine for $500 because I found a good deal online. This is $700, that's $700. What's the difference? Well, this, buy different lenses, does a million different things. That's kind of like this crunched together in a point and shoot kind of model. Which one do I use more? That one, because I don't really know how to use this one all that much yet. I mean, I know the basics, but I really do need to get into it. This camera, I give, 4.5 stars. I mean, this thing is amazing. Like I said, I don't know how to use it exactly, so if I really did know all the ins and outs of it, I would give it 5 stars. I mean, there's nothing that this camera can't do for me for right now. So again, 4.5 stars. It's a great camera. Took me a while to save up for it. Took me a lot of babysitting, working, side jobs, cutting lawns, more babysitting, doing work for other people, all that kind of good stuff. It took me a while. It took me about 1.5 years to save for this, but it was well worth it if you want a DSLR, an introductory DSLR. If you're just getting into them, this is what you want. But if you don't want a DSLR, if you don't want to have to worry about all those weird settings and having to worry about what an ISO is or what a shutter speed is or what an f-stop is or all of that, if you don't want to have to worry about buying all these extra lenses, like I said, this Canon Powershot is what you would want. It does essentially the same things, except you don't have to worry about an external lens and all that good stuff. You can put this on auto and just film. It does have a filming setting, so you can adjust the lighting if it starts to get a little bit darker out. I mean, in comparison, obviously, this one's a little bit bigger than this one, but they do the same things. This one's just a little bit, it's just into that DSLR world where you have to worry about all those different settings and things, and this one is kind of just take it, pick it up, press record, and it's going to get that good quality for you. Again, this is the SX40. It doesn't have the external mic mount. If you want the external mic mount, go with the SX60. That's a great camera as well. So yeah, what would I recommend for you if you want a DSLR, if you want that bigger setup, if you want to really go for it? This Nikon D5200 or the Canon Rebel T3i, both of those good introductory DSLRs. And if you just want an upgraded point and shoot that's not a DSLR, that's not quite there yet, but you want that good quality and you want something that you can really kind of beat up and do some wear and tear on, take it out with you, this is going to last you forever. This is the SX40 or the SX60 would be what I recommend, and these are the Canon Powershots. So yeah, depending on what you want is up to you guys, but those are the 2 cameras that I would recommend mainly for you guys. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.